Welcome to France 2022, The Choice, our daily show covering the presidential race. This is it. Tonight's the night. Both finalists will square off for the one and only debate before round two on Sunday. Marine Le Pen versus Emmanuel Macron, a rematch of 2017. In the meantime, the opposition is already looking ahead at the parliamentary elections next June. Here's the recap of the day with Shirley Sitbon.
It's less than an hour away, the presidential debate. Marine Le Pen may be trailing in polls, but she got a lucky draw. She'll be the first to talk, and the topic is the one she chose, the purchasing power.
C'est une préoccupation majeure de nos concitoyens. Marine Le Pen est la candidate du pouvoir d'achat et Emmanuel Macron a fait beaucoup de mal aux classes populaires, aux classes moyennes ou à nos retraités à qui il a désindexé les pensions de retraite.
Emmanuel Macron will beg to differ before moving on to international affairs, on which he has the upper hand.
Le président de la République aborde ce débat sereinement et avec beaucoup d'intérêt parce que c'est un moment démocratique important. Parce que c'est un moment aussi de clarification.
The third man, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, thinks he was the one meant to be in the duel, not his two rivals. So he wants another go, the third round of voting, or elections to parliament.
L'enjeu pour Jean-Luc Mélenchon, c'est d'être Premier ministre pour pouvoir appliquer le programme qui va changer la vie des gens.
Peu importe le président.
Peu importe le président. Celui ou celle qui emporte une majorité aux élections législatives, c'est lui qui exerce le pouvoir.
Same target on the other end of the political spectrum. Éric Zemmour's party, Reconquest, is calling to unify all nationalist parties with the mainstream right.
Simplement pour imposer une cohabitation à Emmanuel Macron. Aujourd'hui, nous avons la possibilité, peut-être historique d'ailleurs, de pouvoir emporter, si nous sommes ensemble, une majorité au moins relative, si ce n'est absolue. Voilà, que c'est possible, nous avons fait des projections.
While Reconquest leaders plan a future that is rosy for them, the National Rally could poach their people in case Le Pen wins. But Zemmour would be kept outside the government.
Il y aura évidemment des gens de toute tendance, y compris des gens de Reconquête, qui participeront à cette nouvelle majorité présidentielle, parce que ce serait illogique et totalement aberrant.
That is all from the campaign trail. Meet again tomorrow, same time, same place.
Well, as we head into this debate, we're going to take a look at the latest opinion polls ahead of the second round this Sunday, Mark.
Yes, the poll taken by our partner Ipsos Soprasteria every day shows Emmanuel Macron in the lead, 56.5% versus 43.5% for Marine Le Pen, a 13-point lead. The spread between them has doubled since round one. And in 2017, Macron won handily with 2/3 of the votes. And we're now joined on the set by France 24's Angela Diffley, our campaign commentator. Hello, Angela.
Hi, Mark.
Well, we've heard about this debate. How much does it really matter for the candidate?
It does matter, I think. It's kind of a set piece in part of French democracy. It's a very theatrical affair now. And until quite recently, people said it doesn't really change how people vote. And that was until last time, where it's thought that it probably did significantly impact people's decisions on and how they would vote. That was where Marine Le Pen performed extremely badly. We'll see more of that later in the programme, I know. But a lot of people after that debate apparently made their decision not to vote for her. 16.5 million people watch it, so that's a lot of people. And this time we know that many people have made a decision to abstain, but many people are completely undecided. They do not know how they will vote. So there's a lot to play for the two candidates tonight. The other thing is they do offer two quite different programmes, and they have two very, very different styles. So there is a real choice here. So I think it does matter, yes.
And Angela, given everything you just mentioned, the high number of voters thinking about abstaining and Le Pen's poor performance last time, how are the two candidates approaching this year's debate?
OK, well, we'll start with Macron. Macron has, less time to prepare. He's busy running the country. He's also has an important role in Europe as well. So he has less time to prepare. And he has also had less practice because he didn't do any of the debates in the first round. But nevertheless, he's an old hand at this sort of thing, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. In terms of style, it's important for him to try to shed his reputation as someone who's very arrogant, a little bit condescending, a tendency to lecture people. He needs to look respectful and explain what he needs to explain without appearing patronising. I think he will try to expose what he sees as flaws in Marine Le Pen's policies, notably on Europe. He says that although she says very clearly that she has abandoned the policy of France possibly exiting Europe, he says that the policies she expounds would in fact result automatically in a French departure from Europe. So he will try to draw attention to that. He also thinks she's rather shaky on the veil. She has said she would ban the Muslim hijab in public places. He says that's completely unenforceable, unworkable, won't get through Parliament. And he also says she plans to give out all sorts of money and economically her policies do not add up. He will point to his own record and the things he's pretty proud of, it seems, Emmanuel Macron. Our unemployment is down, that is unarguable. He thinks, and polls show, that he has handled Ukraine quite well in the view of the French public. So I think he will play that up. And also COVID, that is arguable. She will also attack him on COVID. But many people think that, all things considered, France compared pretty well with other countries. Marine Le Pen. She, in many ways, I think, simply has to not mess up in order to win because her performance was so shaky last time. In fact, one interesting thing tonight, it has been decided that the cameras can only show the two candidates either talking to each other or looking at each other.
No cutaways.
No cutaways, because last time, famously, she was seen scrambling through all her papers. She lost her place, and it made her look extremely panicky and unprepared. She has removed herself from the election campaign over the last few days in order to prepare and really get a hold of her briefs. She needs to show that she's strong on the economy, that she's strong internationally, and she will try to... She thinks the weakness of Macron is his personality. She will try to portray him as out of touch, only interested in policies which impact well on rich people, and someone who's led a very easy, gilded life and has simply doesn't identify with French people, and they don't identify with him, is her view.
Thank you, Angela. We'll watch this very closely, obviously, at 9 p.m. here, Paris time. This is actually the second time there is such a debate rematch. The last time was in 1981 between François Mitterrand, the socialist, and the center-right then President Valéry Giscard d'Estaing. Let's take a look back at what happened 5 years ago between Emmanuel Macron and Marine Le Pen with Nick Rushworth.
Both candidates will want to appear calm and collected for the 2022 TV debate, the opposite of the confusion and tension of 5 years ago.
Vous êtes à plat ventre en permanence devant l'Allemagne, devant les puissances d'argent, devant les banques.
Marine Le Pen's team acknowledges she was too aggressive. One of the mistakes to avoid.
There's no point getting angry. You have to give a measured response, defend policies and ideas, and show you can be president.
One pitfall they will want to avoid is mutual condescension, as in 2017 when they went head-to-head over details concerning two French companies.
Vous êtes en train de lire une fiche qui ne correspond pas au dossier que vous avez cité. Il y en a un qui fait des téléphones, et l'autre, ça n'a rien à voir. Il fait à la fois des turbines et du matériel industriel.
Emmanuel Macron's team realizes he must not come across as superior.
It's not arrogant to ask questions at a time as crucial as the presidential debate, to show what's behind the cloak of banalities Marine Le Pen has been hiding behind for weeks.
Marine Le Pen, by her own admission, arrived at the 2017 debate feeling tired and poorly prepared.
This time, I think they've decided to calm down. She'll want to look competent, credible, not lost in her notes, and presidential. And he'll want to avoid being seen as arrogant or like he's teaching someone a lesson.
Madame Le Pen.
The duel was electric right up to the last second 5 years ago. One key difference this time is that Emmanuel Macron will have 5 years of policy decisions to defend.
Well, tonight's debate is taking place in La Plaine Saint-Denis, just north of Paris. We can now cross live to France 24's Claire Pacala, who's standing by for us at the TV studio there. Claire, both candidates have arrived.
Yes, Emmanuel Macron and Marine Le Pen have both arrived. They are preparing inside the television studios right now, doing whatever they need to do, taking some deep breaths before that debate kicks off at 9 p.m. We've also seen some other bigwigs in the party arrive. Christophe Castaner, who is a big supporter, of course, of Emmanuel Macron, he's about to walk down the red carpet just behind me. We also saw Jordan Bardella, of course, the right-hand man of Marine Le Pen. François Bayrou, a centrist politician who is a big supporter, of course, of Emmanuel Macron as well. So they're going to be with their candidates, keeping them calm, keeping them focused, because this really is high stakes for both candidates. Millions of French people will be watching this debate tonight.
Claire, what are their respective goals for tonight?
Emmanuel Macron, as the president, of course, has 5 years to defend his last 5 years in power, and he needs to be very careful to not come across as a know-it-all, a clever clogs. He's got a bit of an image issue here in France. He's often criticised for coming across as arrogant. Marine Le Pen, she's going to have to really improve how she performed in the 2017 debate. It's known as the naufrage here in France, or the shipwreck, the train wreck, because she made factual errors. She gave Emmanuel Macron the upper hand too easily, but she, of course, has done her homework since then. She's a trained lawyer as well, so she says she's learned her lessons.
All right, Claire Pacala, thanks for that update. France 24's Claire Pacala reporting live from the TV studios just north of Paris, where that debate will be taking place. Well, in France, these debates are considered by many to be the climax of presidential campaigns. So how exactly can a candidate rise to this high-stakes challenge and pass the TV debate test? Catherine Ketter-Clifford, Maya Anaïs Yataghen, and Fadil Bayat have this report for France 24.
Interrupting. Hitting the table and throwing one-liners into the mix. Welcome to the workshop that teaches participants how to perform well in a debate. A simulated meeting between management and unions allows them to master the art of influence.
L'écoute de l'autre avec le regard, la verticalité et la voix, et laisser venir nos idées, mode intuitif. On ne peut pas préparer, on ne peut pas retourner sur ces papiers, ça va trop vite.
These beginners were thrown in the deep end as they were put to the test.
Fatigué aussi, parce que c'est vrai que ça demande une charge mentale, physique, d'être concentré pendant 3 quarts d'heure comme ça.
Mais comment il est énervé là? Ça se voyait pas, mais il était saoulé.
C'est bien ma chère, personnage. Personnage.
Stéphane André has already coached several presidential candidates. He teaches them the art of eloquent speech, which he says must be anchored first and foremost within body language.
Très souvent, les politiques n'ont pas de préparation physique. En revanche, ils sont surpréparés intellectuellement. Je ne reviens pas sur les éléments de langage, fossilisation de la pensée, parfaitement décodée par les publics, qui passent leur temps à s'ennuyer, à écouter des orateurs qui ne prennent plus de risques intellectuels.
And yet, the debate between the two rounds is seen as the ultimate playing field, where the two final candidates face off. Behind the scenes lurk advisors like Franck Louvrier. Under his belt, he now has 2 Politics World Cup finals, as he calls them.
La difficulté pour le président sortant, et je l'ai connu quand j'étais avec Nicolas Sarkozy, c'est qu'il n'a pas fait de débat pendant 5 ans. Et donc il est beaucoup moins exercé au débat que peut l'être son adversaire qui, elle, par contre, a fait des débats de façon récurrente. Et donc c'est vrai que c'est un entraînement différent.
Experts say the candidates should never change their strategy mid-game, not letting their concentration drop for even a second, because every word, every look will be analysed by millions of viewers and then pulled to pieces by online commentators, who, like the best of debaters, won't let candidates off lightly.
Well, it's time now for our segment called The French Presidential Election for Dummies. Each week, we focus on some of the particularities of the French election, which at times might raise eyebrows abroad.
Yes, welcome, France Filmino.
Good evening.
Obviously, today, as we may have noticed already, the spotlight is on the presidential debate. It's about to kick off in less than 45 minutes now, and we're going to take a look back at some of the big moments of past debates, a best of, if you will.
That's right, because the very first presidential debate happened on the 10th of May, 1974. And I need to know that here in France, they were inspired by what happened in the United States, in particular, the debate between Richard Nixon and John F. Kennedy in September 1960. But we had to wait until 1974 for it to happen here in France. So it featured the centrist Valéry Giscard d'Estaing versus the socialist François Mitterrand. It lasted 1 hour and 41 minutes precisely. Now, before the debate, polls had the two men neck and neck for the second round. But there is one pivotal moment that people say really tipped the balance. Take a listen.
Vous n'avez pas, M. Mitterrand, le monopole du cœur. Vous ne l'avez pas. J'ai un cœur comme le vôtre qui bat sa cadence et qui est le mien. Vous n'avez pas le monopole du cœur.
So that was really the moment when that Mitterrand was seen as getting the underhand compared to Valéry Giscard d'Estaing, the monopoly of the heart. People still talk about it today. Now, a televised debate is really an opportunity for candidates to shine when it comes to their oral ability. It's a stage. You show off your savviness with the French language, and especially something that's called la répartie here in French. It's essentially your way to have comebacks, to do zingers. It's seen as a marker of intelligence here in France, where verbal jousting is particularly appreciated. Now, you need to know that François Mitterrand, if he's seen as having lost that first debate against Valéry Giscard d'Estaing, he got his revenge with his return debate. This was in 1981. He's seen as having won that debate against Valéry Giscard d'Estaing. And he especially shined in 1988 when he found himself up against the conservative Jacques Chirac, who, you keep in mind, was his prime minister, had been his prime minister, and he came up with this burn. Take a listen.
Permettez-moi juste de vous dire que ce soir, je ne suis pas le Premier ministre et vous n'êtes pas le Président de la République. Nous sommes deux candidats à égalité et qui se soumettent au jugement des Français, seul qui compte. Vous me permettrez donc de vous appeler Monsieur Mitterrand.
Mais vous avez tout à fait raison, Monsieur le Premier ministre.
The following debate between the conservative Jacques Chirac and the socialist Lionel Jospin was a lot less tense.
Absolutely. In fact, they say that the debate from 1995 was polite, which is quite surprising for a presidential debate. Others say it was boring. Now, 2002 was a special year. In fact, there was no presidential debate that year because Jacques Chirac refused to debate Jean-Marie Le Pen, who in a surprise turn of events made it to the second round. Jean-Marie Le Pen, of course, the father of Marine Le Pen from what was then the National Front. So you had to wait until 2007 for a return to tense debates with zingers, etc. And this was the first time that there was a man candidate, so the conservative Nicolas Sarkozy, versus a female candidate, Ségolène Royal from the Socialist Party. And this debate was seen as being very tense, as I said, and it was marked by this exchange. Take a listen.
Et je suis très en colère. Et les parents et les familles qui vous en... Et les parents... Non, je ne me calmerai pas.
Ne montrez pas du doigt avec
non,
cet index pointé, parce que franchement...
Non, je ne me calmerai pas. Non, je ne me calmerai pas. Je ne me calmerai pas.
Pour être président de la République, il faut être calme.
Non, pas quand il y a des injustices. Il y a des colères qui sont parfaitement saines.
Now, Florence, 5 years later, Nicolas Sarkozy found himself up against socialist François Hollande in a debate that this time broke the record in terms of duration.
It was long. It was 2 hours and 50 minutes. And it included a sequence that lasted 3 minutes and 30 seconds, so quite a long sequence in which François Hollande repeated the same phrase 15 times. Moi, président. As president, he repeated it 15 times. It was a mantra that went on to make history. We won't show you the 33 minutes and 30 seconds, but we'll show you a little extract. Take a look.
Moi, président de la République, je ne traiterai pas mon Premier ministre de collaborateur. Moi, président de la République, je ne participerai pas à des collectes de fonds pour mon propre parti. dans un hôtel parisien. Moi, président de la République, je ferai fonctionner la justice de manière indépendante.
Well, thank you, Florence. Thank you, Mark. For now, that wraps up this episode of France 2022, The Choice. But our special coverage of the presidential debate will continue at 8:45 p.m. Paris time, and we will carry the debate live, so do stay tuned for that.